not my native language. Well, indeed, which means you have the right to make fun of my weird accent, but only from the day you speak my language as good as I speak yours. I'm not a machinist. Indeed, I'm not. But I learned all these things in school, and I have some experience. We worked in a workshop. We did lots of welding, and sometimes there was machining, and that was for me. We had this old shaper and an old lathe, and no one wanted to work on these old and crappy machines, so I did. And we made lots of pins for these hydraulic machines, you know, these digging machines. We also made keyways with the shaper. That was the purpose. And then these flats on these pins we did on the shaper too. A question could be, what do I do as a job? Let's take a walk and I will show you. What I do for a living, we deliver fuel to sea vessels. A ship like this one normally runs on heavy fuel, this black stinking stuff, but on the North Sea and in the port they're not allowed to use it. They run on diesel. That's what we do. We deliver only diesel. Stinking stuff we don't do. Our barge is almost 86 meters long. Inside we can put 1,600 metric tons. Imagine I bring all this diesel to my house to put in my heating system. I can heat my house for about 800 years. 800. And we work here with 2 people. But only the best. That's not true, you know it. These 2 people on this barge, and me and my colleague, we take care of everything on this barge. We clean, we paint, we make the food, we do the technical problems, take care of engines. And the system is we're 1 week on the barge and 1 week at home. That's why we're leading this double life, you know, it's a bit schizophrenia. Not allowed to say "oh" with dirty hands. I'm not sure that's exactly the meaning of that sign. To pump all this diesel in the sea vessels, we use this 4-inch hose. 4-inch hose, flexible rubber. It's very heavy, and because it's too heavy to manipulate with hand, we use the crane. We have a magnificent grey crane on deck. This one is about 25 meters high. We also have the right to play with engines. And on this barge, the engines are yellow. And we have 5 of them. For the moment we're alongside another barge. This one delivers heavy fuel, same time as we deliver diesel, and this is their pump. It's well known, big boys play with big toys. This used to be an engine. And now it is scrap. So it was a gas engine, and in here was moving the piston, of course, but you know that, and valve seats. And just for fun, I want to redo this surface in the shaper. The problem is, of course, this part is too large to put in a vise, and the other side there's no way to register this to put in a proper way to rework this surface. The only surface we have is this. So if we put it this way in the shaper, that could work. If I take my square, we see that indeed it is square. So my idea is to put this part this way in the shaper and rework this surface. Of course we cannot put this part immediately like this on the table, because the cutting tool will touch the table, so we're gonna put it on parallels. More or less something like this. Now there's enough clearance for the tool. I found some studs and T-nuts and some scrap metal. If you mount work pieces or parts on the table with T-nuts and the surface of the table is not supported with a flat surface, don't tie these rods too much, because you risk to break all chunks out of the table, so be careful with that. To square up the part with the machine, we're gonna use this line, the side of the table. This is perfectly square or in line with the ram, so we can use it as a reference. That is good. The total travel of this tool post is 80 millimeters. And my part is 130 millimeters, so it's too short. The best solution should be to travel down 80 millimeters, work up the tool again, and then raise the table. If I raise the part too much, the dovetail right here will touch the part, so it will self-destruct. It's well known, shapers can be self-destructive. If I move the part backwards a bit more to clear the dovetail over here, I have to extend my cutting tool so much we're gonna have a serious chatter problem, or maybe break a tool. Take this out, and this is where Mr. Pete invented the extended tool holder. But before I can show that, I have to make one. And don't you dare say shapers are slow. Now, tool holders like this are easy to make if you have a shaper. Just clean up faces. In the lathe I make this kind of bushing thing, weld it together, take a bolt, drill a square hole in it with a square drill, of course. Tool comes here, tool holder, nut escape. If you install a tool holder like this one, the best way, in my opinion, is to put the cutting tool on the back side, this side, right way of course, here. Sometimes you see people put the cutting tool on the front side, but this distance between the fixed part is getting too long, so like this you have more risk of chatter. I prefer, it's my way of doing things, of course, you do whatever you want, I prefer having the tool on the back side, more in line. So let's install. I will turn a bit, you can see better, not too much stick out. That will do. Now let's install this cutting tool the proper way. I showed you first from the side view just to show the in front or the back position of the cutting tool. Now we will install the proper way. That's all it takes. Don't tap with hammers. There's no need. I reached the end of travel, 80 millimeters. So now I'm gonna bring up the tool. I'm gonna raise the table. Of course this engine will never run again. The backside is broke, so this is a perfect piece of scrap just to exercise. Indeed, it is possible to make big parts on small machines. Of course this is not a big part, but for this machine it is. Now tool holders like this one, I'm not a big fan of it. Sometimes comes in handy, as you could see, make too large part on a too small machine. That works great, but there's a terrible loss of rigidity with this kind of tool holders. Of course, if you have a big machine like Adrian, he has this magnificent German Klopp shaper, he will never have these chatter problems, but on small machines like this, it's always more interested to put the cutting tool directly in a tool holder and not use these extended things. This works great if you have special cuts to make and then take very small cuts for big cuts. This doesn't work.